I call this order of the Brockton School Committee, this meeting of the Brockton School Committee to order, and ask you to please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, we've got a busy night here tonight, and we're very happy to have the MIAA Division I State Soccer Champions here with us tonight, so we'll get to them in a few minutes. First, I've been asked to advise everyone that tonight's meeting is being broadcast live on YouTube and will be rebroadcast on Brockton Community Access, so that everyone in the room is aware that they could possibly be broadcast. We open each meeting with hearing of visitors, and we do have several folks signed in tonight. The ground rules for hearing of visitors: anyone can come and appear before the school committee, the superintendent, myself, simply by signing in before any regularly scheduled school committee meeting. Each visitor has 3 minutes to address us. All matters taken under advisement. There's no immediate response from the school committee, but we will listen very carefully to what you have to say. So our first scheduled speaker is Joe Campbell.
Mayor Carpenter, Superintendent Smith, and school committee board members, thank you for this opportunity to speak, and thank you for hearing me today. My name is Joe Campbell, and I am one of 4 senior support members within the Brockton Public School Department's Technical Services team, under the department direction of Dan Vigent. This evening to speak in strong support of the immediate need to increase the Brockton School Department's technical services staff of employees. In October of this year, this committee heard testimony from our director, and in that testimony, Mr. Vigent stated the important mission and standard our department strives to obtain, and in most cases surpass daily. He spoke of the important initiatives that will propel Brockton into the 21st century learning by becoming a one-to-one district. That's one device per one student. Mr. Vigent brought forth the current staffing numbers that our department maintain, which results in a staff of device-to-device ratio of 1 to 1,000. So that's one technician to 1,000 devices. And this number is beyond reasonable expectation, as Dan quoted at the time. In the same discussion, Superintendent Smith is quite accurate in assessment and statement regarding the state moving forward with the one-to-one and the need to, quote, not compromise the children's future, end quote. All because of an opportunity we have to rectify this situation now in the present of today. Our department is called the Technical Services Department. We are not Information Technology, or IT for short. In my short 2 years of being on this team, I now understand why we are called Technical Services. Simply stated, it's because IT is too narrow an adjective to describe the vast amount of services that we provide. All the experience I have in my past has geared and greased my abilities for one thing: this team I'm on right now. I wish each of you have the opportunity I have to sit in a think tank meeting with Mr. Vigent providing direction, and each of my teammates adding resolution, advice, and step-ahead problem solving, all to achieve one mission: the technical service to the staff and students of the Brockton Public Schools. It truly is amazing to watch and see the progress from problem to solution with everyone playing their part. Every time it happens, I find myself knowing why this team is the best in the district to be on. This leaves out any kind of immediate triage issue that can rear up in our technical world. That's even more impressive to see because it's like being in an ER operating room. However, integration into this team happens when we are allowed to assess strengths and weaknesses of the team members and to place them in the think tank where they are most valuable. The team works its best when we are allowed to grow together, senior staff afforded time to coach the technicians, and the team is allowed to become proactive instead of reactive because we work so well together. If we do not have the staff in place now to become a better team, ready to take on the amount of devices and network integration coming in FY18 and FY19, and instead wait until it's absolutely necessary to hire, Mr. Vigent and our team will not have the opportunity to reflect back to the numbers being beyond reasonable expectation. Instead, we will be failing. Please support the need and the needed headcount to increase so we can continue to support our district effectively. Thank you very much, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Joe. Our next speaker is James Lofton.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Superintendent Smith, and school committee board members. My name is James Lofton, and I am a senior technician for the technology services team here at Brockton Public Schools. Like you, I want to see the students in this district succeed, and I've seen firsthand the powerful impact of having technology in our classrooms. Our technology services team is divided into 5 major groups. We have network administration, involving 2 techs, security low voltage cabling, 1 tech, imaging administration, which is 1 tech, help desk, which is 1 tech, and also computer technical services, which is 9 techs. I supervise the computer technical services team, and I am proud to be on this team. And also, I feel that we want to do the best job we can do in order to make success in this district. But I also believe that our district has an opportunity to make some changes that will in turn help our students continue to succeed even more. Now, the computer services team consists of 8 technicians totally, and out of these technicians, 3 of them work mostly on AV equipment. 2 are general purpose, and 1 specializes in AV. Now, we also have 1 technician that specializes here at Brockton Public Schools High School. We have 4 techs who work on computer problems all around the district, and they serve about 5, maybe 6 schools in a week. Now, the reason we say this is because 3.5 years ago when I started, I noticed we would get about 5 complaint calls in a week. Now we get about 5 complaint calls a day. The reason we bring this up is because we have, first of all, a large number of locations. We have priority calls constantly, and we also have specialized trainings that can get in the way of performing normal daily activities. We want these trainings, but they're needed to help our students grow. Overall, we want to be able to fulfill tasks as much and as soon as possible. However, we know the need for technology has been increasing, and we also know that technology itself is an ever-changing field. We know that approximately we need 9,000 more devices to make this a one-to-one district for mobile devices. And we know at this time that we are moving towards that mark. Since we are moving there, we constantly have meetings each week in order to improve ourselves and improve the structure of our group. Our primary goal is to provide technical support to all of the district in a timely fashion. Even though we have these meetings, these get-together, there's one common concern that has been reoccurring in every single meeting. We will need more technical support to maintain our standard. Tonight, we ask each of you to give more thought and time into the need of increasing the number of technicians as we approach becoming a one-to-one district in this great Brockton. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you, James. Our next speaker is Jackie Pinto.
Good evening, Mayor Carpenter, Superintendent Smith, and school committee board members. My name is Jackie Pinto. I work in Technology Services Department as a computer technician, working with interactive whiteboards, Elmo document cameras, and front row sound systems. I am the designated person in our department who specializes in the AV equipment. There is one of these devices in 92% of the classrooms throughout the district. Our standard to maintain and complete dependency teaching staff in a timely fashion in order to not interrupt their planned work in their classroom instruction is compromised when technology staff levels are not to state recommendations. Depending on which device I'm fixing, it can take 2 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes most of the morning. It would help if I had another person to help me with these tasks. Because of our technology staffing levels and the result of the enormous amount of these devices in the district and the limited time for the service to maintain prevents me from providing a full circle of services which should include a basic level equipment training, which these teachers need to successfully use this equipment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I speak for a moment? I know we don't usually speak to hearing of visitors.
Superintendent, I'm going to ask for a vote to suspend the rules because we can't pick and choose when we're going to respond.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
All right? So I'm going to ask for a motion for vote to suspend the rules so that the superintendent can speak.
I will make the motion to suspend the rules in order to have further discussion.
Yep. Okay, second? All in favor? Okay. Go ahead,
I
Superintendent.
just want to take a moment. When I look at the 3 members that have just come before us, I couldn't find 3 hardworking people in the district. I do thank them in their team for all the support. And they are correct when they tell you that, we're obviously a growing district with growing needs, with growing accountability. I look over at the team that we'll introduce in just a few minutes. And when I look at those faces and I think about, what is coming for all of our students, this is obviously, and I want you to know, a discussion that we are having. So we clearly understand the need. I thank you for coming in every day and working long hours and doing the very best you can. And like so many other things, we understand that it is not enough. So I just want you to know that we will continue to look for ways to be able to support our district in a way that is appropriate for the young students, for our teachers, and for myself that require the services of the department on so many occasions to do our work. So thank you, Mayor.
No, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on to tonight's consent agenda. The consent agenda is a manner in which the school committee can handle a number of routine items of business as one block to speed up the meeting. Any member of the committee may request that any individual item on the consent agenda be removed for individual discussion and deliberation. So at this time, I'll ask if any members of the committee would like any of the items on the consent agenda removed. Mr. Minicello, item C. Anybody else? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda absent item C.
Motion to approve consent agenda minus item C.
Okay, motion's made, seconded by Ms. Plant. All in favor? Approved. Okay. Mr. Minicello, you have the floor for item C.
Just item C, I'd like to recognize the generosity of the Patricia people who are supporting and promoting the Patricia Hines Connolly Scholarship Fund for Young Student Parents. It's a donation, scholarship donation of $2,500, which is very generous. Eligibility requirement is candidate is graduating teen parent from Brockton High School and accepted into an accredited 2- or 4-year college or university or certificate of trade program. The scholarship award is the basis on need and merit. So obviously I just want to recognize the generosity, and we certainly appreciate the donation. So
I think that's the entire committee. Any further comment or discussion on C? That
I'll
being
make a
the
motion
case,
to approve.
Motion's been made. Second. All in favor? Approved. Thank you. So at this point of the meeting, Superintendent, I'll turn it over to you for your report on learning and teaching.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to start, first of all, under communication, by talking about a letter that we did receive. I'll just read the end of it. I think many of you know that opening school during the middle of hurricane season in Houston, continued on in Puerto Rico and Florida. I mean, we know what was happening during the months of August and September with so many of our families. And one of the things that we did as a community of teachers, of staff members, of students, was coming together and asking for donations that we actually worked with the Teamsters on bringing down south to the Houston area, and also collecting money from, again, some of our youngest students to many of our staff. We did receive a letter of recognition from the American Red Cross dated December 7th, and it ends by saying, in the challenging weeks and months ahead, compassionate donors like you help ensure that we can stand with flood survivors to meet urgent needs, remain by their sides as they begin to pick up the pieces and to rebuild their lives. Once again, thank you for supporting the Red Cross and those we serve. So thank you to everybody, again, that not only took part in supporting the Red Cross, but even looking at this time of year with so many needs in our district. I'm so proud to be from this Brockton community that cares beyond our own borders and cares about our children, our families, and the lives that we all want to have. So I want to thank everybody for their support. I also am so pleased tonight to talk about two groups, and I'm going to talk first about the Red Apple Award presentation. I know many of our teachers and our staff members that receive this award have left for the evening, although I do see Mr. Dave Sprick from the Davis School, who I told him to come to the school committee meeting, as I recognized. And I want to talk about the Red Apple Awards. So these awards are given to people that go above and beyond in our school district to support our students each and every day. This is our second award ceremony. Tonight we had 22 award-winning recipients, from school adjustment counselors to administrative assistants supporting the schools, to teachers throughout the district, to physical education teachers, English teachers, bilingual teachers, special education teachers. It just really runs the gamut of what we do so very well in this district. And I would like to read their names. We have Kelly Young from the Adult Learning Center, Michelle Fagan from the Angelo School, Alicia Salapino from the Arnone School, Joyce Meaden, Asheville Middle School, Jeannie Marquisio, Baker School, Karen Short from Russell Early Childhood Center, Nicole Otero, Brockton High School, Gloria Rublow, Brockton High School, Amy Zanaboni, Brockton High School, David Sprick, Davis School, John Jake O'Neill, Davis School, Kim Wensley, Downey School, Kristen Conley, East Middle School, Corday Higgins, George School, Brian McCarthy, Gilmore School, Allison McDonald, I think I see Allison up back there also, the Hancock School, Jason Conley, the Huntington Therapeutic Day School, Jamie Milnamo, the Kennedy School, Kelly Nemenko, the Kennedy School, Sonia Neves, North Middle School, Gina Creedon, Pluff Academy, Kerry Rodenbeck, Pluff Academy, Michelle Falconeri, Raymond School, Beth Keene, South Middle School, and last but not least, Shelley Kearns from West Middle School. And I want to thank everybody and congratulate all of those Red Apple Award winners for this time. We will continue to do this throughout the year and to award and recognize the service that goes above and beyond each and every day. And we will be having at the end of the year what we're calling our Golden Apple Awards. So very pleased to be able to do this again during this wonderful holiday season. And now I think what you've all been waiting for, because having been in the district for so many years, I've been around for championship teams, and it had been a while since we were actually able to celebrate such a wonderful, wonderful state championship. So, Mr. Mayor, I know you've been there every step of the way as we have been supporting our wonderful varsity soccer team, who went down a little over, I think, a month ago to, was it Long Meadow? We were in Worcester and beat Long Meadow. To beat Long Meadow. And again, the one thing that I will say about this group of young men and Coach Furtado, who certainly has brought them not only to a state championship level, but to young men that we are so proud of how you have represented us throughout the state. And I know you continue to receive accolades, but we as the school committee that spend lots of time looking at what's important for your school, looking to make sure that you have every opportunity to be able to be successful in sports or all of the things that you do well. We are so pleased to come tonight and to congratulate you. Mr. Mayor, are we going to go out there?
Oh, that was
Okay.
more of them than
There's so many of you.
Go this way.
So, Coach, can you join me? And young men, could you please stand up? I want to present to you our state championship varsity soccer team. Would you like to say a few words, Coach?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Superintendent Smith, and all the school committee board members. It's a pleasure to be here representing this group of young men, they're great individuals, great human beings. But I would love to let you know what we do outside of the soccer field. Before practices, we do meet in the study hall. We do homework for 45 minutes. We do weekly progress notices so teachers let us know how they are doing. We take library visit at the beginning of the season, so everybody has a book to read on bus rides. Bus rides have become study halls too. On the way to games, we do homework on the bus. Thanks to Mr. Mininciero's son, who started this position when he was playing freshman for us. So it's not just on the field that things that people can see. We do a lot of things off the field too that goes to show how responsible and special this group is. And thank you again.
Thank you very much, Coach. I'm going to take this from you so I can remain mic'd up. And we'd like to congratulate every one of you. Congratulations for putting us on the map. Thank you so much. You guys can sit. I can get to the next row. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to come up here. So,
We go around. Congratulations. Congratulations.
this has been the highlight of my year. Thank you so much.
One comment.
Oh, please, Mayor.
So if I could just add a comment before you guys leave to the superintendent's comments. We all received that email that came from the Long Meadow parent the day after the game. So we should probably read that into the record sometime, because the superintendent and the school committee and I received an email the day after, or a couple days after the state championship game. And this was a parent of one of the losing players from Long Meadow, who is also, I think, the head of the youth soccer league there, and went to the time to write a really beautiful letter complimenting the sportsmanship and the citizenship and just the outstanding way in which the young men represented the city of Brockton, not just during the game, but before and after, and particularly commenting about two of our players who went out of their way to be encouraging and supportive of one of the losing players on Long Meadow. And that email meant more to me than the state championship game. It really did. Not that I didn't want you to win, because I told you the night before I wanted you not to come home without the title. But as I think this is a great testament not just to the players, but to Coach Furtado, because I think that begins with the coach and the expectations that are set for the players and the tone that is set around. And so I'm just, we're all very proud of the championship, but I am especially proud of the outstanding way in which you represented the city. And I think particularly, I had kids that played sports for Brockton over the years and traveled. And, sometimes people from outside of Brockton have preconceived notions of what young people from Brockton are really like. And they're usually not positive preconceived notions. And we're changing that. And it's ignorance on their part, but I think sometimes when something like this happens, they become enlightened as to what outstanding young adults this city produces every year, both in the classroom and on the playing field. So I just want to thank you, in addition to winning the title, but the outstanding way in which you represented our city. And I know there's going to be a lot of accolades continuing over the next probably month or two. We're going to have you at City Hall soon, and I know there's a couple other special events that are being planned. And so enjoy it, celebrate it. But for those of you coming back next year, don't let it go ahead, because the first day practice starts. We're not talking about last year's championship anymore. So, but in the meantime, enjoy it. So I just thought it was important for people to know just not just how well they represented the city, but the fact that it was noticed. It us by the people on the other side of the field. So thank you.
Congratulations. Very nice.
Okay, back to the superintendent. Yes, you know what? We're going to take a 1-minute recess, just to allow the team a chance to depart without disrupting the meeting. So we'll take a 1-minute recess. Maybe.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, up there. I guess.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna lose the whole audience. No more breaks. No more breaks. What is it, carpal tunnel? Is it carpal tunnel? His hand? That's painful. You have to have that surgery for that. I wouldn't want to have that done.
To order and turn the floor back over to the superintendent.
Thank you, Mayor. On another positive note, our student representative, Shama E. Race from Brockton High School, will update us on what's happening with our wonderful students at Brockton High.
So I have a few things that I want to cover, but not as much as last week. So what I did mention last week was the play and the concert, and those went off really well. I heard that the concert was really good. I didn't get to attend, but a lot of my friends were raving about it as usual. They're usually pretty great. As well as the hat drive the knitting club was hosting, it went pretty well. So I heard that they got a good amount of donations. So to start off, I want to congratulate the boys track team for winning, starting off at a good foot. And some things to look forward to this week is the honor roll assembly, which is open to freshmen through seniors, and to be eligible to be part of it or to be invited into the ceremony, you need to have grades above a C, or at least or only one C, something like that. And usually the auditorium is fully packed, which is really good, and it shows to the academic excellence at Brockton High, so we're pretty proud of that. Also, the annual Ugly Christmas Sweater Day is coming up, and a lot of ideas. I've heard of a lot of fun ideas. Well, I don't know. I'm still trying to think of mine. I want to do something with lights, but I don't know. I don't know how to find it. Yeah, I've heard of reindeers, and glitter, and it should be fun. And I know that the teachers take it pretty seriously. At least in Red, they take it very seriously, so I'm very excited to see what they come up with. And for sports, I know that there are some meets coming up. Today was the swimming teams meet, and I didn't hear a report back on that yet, but I think that they won. For hockey, there's a game tomorrow, and for the girls basketball team, there is a game on Friday at 5.
There's so many sports going on. Again, a great time of year. We've switched over to our winter sports season.
Yeah.
And thank you for talking about that. And I do have to say, when I came to see the play here, Bone Chiller, I'm not sure if anyone saw that. When I walked into the little theater, it was totally transformed. So you had a bar set up, there were comfortable chairs. As a matter of fact, I commented on to that evening as we sat together that I really think we ought to set up the school committee meeting. We'd get a lot better business done. You had to see what a wonderful setup it was. I decided I was taking the easy chair. We have seats around the bar. Wanda had a little desk, and I think we'd get a lot of business done, Mr. Mayor. I can bartend, I want you to know that.
So can I, as you recall.
So anyway, it was great. It was a terrific play.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, the Pops concert, it is just amazing. Again, we say this every year, but it doesn't go unnoticed. The hard work that goes on, the entertainment. As I looked around the audience that evening, it is filled with people that have been coming for years, will continue to come. It is such a tradition, and I want to thank everybody for making these things priority, whether it's our soccer team, our sports teams, our arts, all of the things that really make it a wonderful opportunity for kids to come to Brockton High School. So a terrific month filled with great things. So thank you, and please take a picture of the ugly sweater. We'll be waiting to see. Next, I'd like to also invite up two of our principals. I have Principal Mary Beth O'Brien, Principal Carol McGrath, and both of them are going to talk about some things that students in their school have been able to take part in. One is a historical walk through Camp Powell, and I thought with the change in our school from having left the Huntington after many years, now the Gilmore School, and I know, again, it is still a vital part of Campello. Principal McGrath will tell you about a wonderful opportunity with a collaboration with one of the local high schools who actually adopted a class at the Raymond School. So,
good evening. I'm just here to give a quick update about our second annual Holiday History Lantern Walk. One of our initiatives at the Gilmore School, formerly the Huntington, is to really involve our students into the community and find ways where students and community partnerships come together to really foster that sense of school pride and also community pride. And we know that when our students give back to their community and really see it as their own place to feel safe and supported and find all of the resources around them, we know that we're fostering some long-standing citizenship so that hopefully we can continue to improve Brockton in the years to come. So this was our second annual Holiday History Lantern Walk, which it begins at the Gilmore School, formerly began at the Huntington, where then we walk all together with, lighted up vests, and students make these homemade lanterns out of 2-liter water bottles or soda bottles. And then we sing carols. We started at the Keith Park playground, and then there were a couple of cutouts and things like that to take some pictures and some festive lights. Then we walk down Main Street and we decorate all of the barrels that line Main Street with Christmas trees with homemade ornaments that the students make. And then that continued on to Ladder 2, where we're welcoming by about 15 firefighters, and they hand out candy canes and greet the children. And we end at the First Evangelical Lutheran Church, where the pastor plays the organ about 5 different carols, and the students get to sing with their families. And it's finished off with, of course, cookies and chocolate milk, because that makes everybody happy. So it was a wonderful event. We actually had our very own Brett Gormley there, among other people. So I'll just show you a quick little video so you can get a sense of what it was like. That's it.
That was great. Very nice. Okay, so now I'd like to share with everyone, we were fortunate enough to be adopted. Our whole grade 1 classes at the Raymond School were adopted by the King Philip High School Student Council. And so Ms. Sabermeyer had contacted me in early fall, asked if I was willing to, accept this adoption. I said, of course, we never turned down anything. So she connected me with, her name is Mrs. Ellen Dill. She is student council advisor at King Philip, and she, her and I, we emailed and communicated all fall and early winter, well, late fall, and what it was December 13th, we were invited down. They provided transportation, 4 buses, all 170 students were welcomed. They partnered up with the high school student councils. They had 240 student council members. And each student at the Raymond School and staff member were given a wish list to fill out before they went. So teachers and students all received some wonderful gifts. So we want to just play the video, and I can answer any questions afterwards. But these are just some highlights, some pictures of the day. So as you can see, they spent a lot of time in the gymnasium there, but what we got out of it was our students just felt so special. They were all, each one of them had their own high school partner, and they spent the day together, and like it said, the last slide, it was a great time by all. So we're just very appreciative of King Philip High School, and how wonderful, what a great holiday gift. Our students left with remote control cars and basketballs and soccer balls, and anything that was on their wish list, they received, along with warm hats. And so it was just a really generous opportunity for our kids. Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Great. Yes.
How exactly did this come about? How did the person that...
Ellen Dill had actually communicated with you and was looking to adopt a grade 1 in a Brockton school, so...
Could you add a little more?
This is the second year that we've been partnered with this high school, so last year we partnered the high school and the Arnold school. So it's just something that they were looking to have some community outreach in some of the surrounding areas, so they actually reached out to us and asked us for something that we so it's such a success at the Arnold school last year that when she reached out to us again this year, she asked us if we would partner with the school. So Carol really interested and invested in really creating that partnership, and it's a really special day for both sets of students.
Very nice.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to commend O'Brien and Lynn Smith, the Campello, the Keith Park Neighborhood Association, and all the folks from the Keith Park Neighborhood Association and the volunteers who helped decorate Keith Park, and the folks at First Lutheran who helped provide cookies and chocolate milk to the kids. It was a really nice night, and it's great to see so many students and families turn out after school to come to an event like that. You don't always see that in the city. So it was great. It was a great night. It wasn't super cold.
Oh, that was just the video.
Yeah.
Trying to create that imagery for you.
But it was a great job by you, Ms. O'Brien, and everyone else who volunteered to help. And hopefully we have more people next year.
Thank you. Yep. That event was sponsored through the Campello Main Streets and also the Keith Park Neighborhood Association and the First Lutheran. So we came together, and that's, hopefully we'll continue to do it as a tradition 3, 4, 10 years down the road. So
it's so important for us to be out there when we talk about business partnerships or community partnerships. we're encouraging this at every one of our schools. And again, we make up such a big part of the Brockton, city of Brockton, the community. So to be out there, whether it's, collaborating with a district beyond us, that chose to, come into our school at the Raymond School, see what the needs of our students are, we're certainly willing to reach across the aisle and to make sure that people get to know a little bit about us. When people get to see our wonderful students, or just terrific things happening in our district, or kids that are going to learn about the place that they live, hence Capello, it has a long history, a very proud history. When I think of, you mentioned the fire station of the Lutheran Church, or
We stopped at Walkover Commons and learned about the factory and the original shoe factory, because Lynn Smith, I'm sure you've all experienced some of her history tours. So she stopped at each place with her floral umbrella and shared some information about each stop. So
And we'll continue to highlight for those people out there, looking and thinking. There's so many ways you can become involved. You don't have to be a big business, you can be a small business, but schools need you, we need your support, and we would like to continue with those collaborations. Please reach out to us. So thank you both for highlighting terrific events happening this past December. Okay, and next I would like to invite down our Assistant Director of Bilingual Education, Vula Rumas. Laura, you're not joining her? And Laurie Silva, our Director of Community Schools. This has been a long-running project. When I became superintendent in 2013, this program was already going on. Mr. Minicello, I believe you were the school committee representative as part of our district capacity project. I see Gibson in the audience. So again, it goes before I became superintendent that we were working as part of our district capacity project with our union, our management team, and our school committee to try to work on a project together. It strengthens relationships. We have a very project. We had a little bit of a hiccup last year where we were hoping to bring the French immersion part of the program. We had brought the Portuguese immersion program, our UNIDOS program, back 2 years ago. And we're very pleased as we talk about entering the next school year and bringing our French immersion program forward.
Okay, thank you.
I think you have a few slides here?
Yes.
Step aside.
Good evening, school committee. Vula Rumas here, department head for the bilingual department. As Superintendent Smith just pointed out, this has been a project since 2002 where we looked at and focused on the achievements of students and what we would be doing towards that purpose. And we found that increasing the number of dual language programs across the state and across the United States was happening, bringing lots of success. So that is where we focused. And through community forums, surveys, committee meetings, visits to other schools and other districts, even across state lines, it was identified that Portuguese and French would be the next dual language programs that have the most popularity, given the community that we live in, as well as what the parents were requesting. Both of the Portuguese and the French dual language program would be modeled after the two-way Spanish program, which this year celebrates its 15th year, as well as the Utah language immersion programs, another very well established program. We are working very closely with Utah. We do share resources with them, and they have supported us all along as we launch all our dual language programs. We did start in 2016 with the UNIDOS program at the Raymond School, the Portuguese English. It was identified that Portuguese is the 6th largest most spoken language in the world, and because of our community between the Portuguese speakers and the Cape Verdeans, there was a tremendous amount of support. We are currently at 2 grades, kindergarten and 1st grade, and we grow a grade annually. These programs are 50-50 models. 50% of the day is spent in the English classroom and 50% of the day in the Portuguese classroom. We established lots of partnerships that we still hold dear today, and we share lots of resources with them. As we continue to look at the research in order to launch the French immersion program this year, I noticed that the list of benefits of being bilingual has been growing since our last look at that research. At the top remains the success of students in dual language programs scoring much higher than their non-dual language counterparts. This, of course, is good for the students, the district, the parents themselves. Also at the very top is the higher thinking skills that dual language students engage in, and in their testing show those results. Excuse me. There's a lot of flexibility in their problem solving, and I noticed two new benefits since the last time we looked at the research, that these dual language students demonstrate persistence in their academics, persistence in problem solving, and persistence with doing schoolwork. They don't give up easily, especially when it comes to the STEM content areas. And the other good piece of news, especially me as I'm in my middle age bracket, that there's a decreased rate of Alzheimer's, or the onset of Alzheimer's, for people who speak a second language or multiple languages. So there are brain benefits beyond language speaking as well. This is a little bit of the research we had started out with during that district capacity project, and it's clearly the first two lines at the top, the green ones, are the dual language programs. They surpass the students in scoring in the national tests above all the other language learning programs. The latest research that I mentioned that we are looking at as we launch the French program has the identical results, the newest research that came out in 2014 and 2015. And that research also includes more groups that they looked at, these researchers looked at. And the groups that they looked at are students with disabilities, students from low socioeconomic, white students, African American students, English language learners, far and wide. All of those groups that attended dual language programs were far more successful in their testing, as well as achievements and those benefits that I just mentioned. Our English language learner population is growing steadily. These are the latest numbers that I took last week, and I know every single day we have more and more enrollment. All of these students and their families are actually great community assets, because not only are they supporting the dual language programs, but they also bring the cultural foundations to support these programs. So we reach out to the community to help us understand the culture as well. And I'm always reminded of what Superintendent Smith said as we launched the UNIDOS program. It is a gateway city. We're very diverse. And I always thought that her comment in particular, that this is good for business owners and families, stay connected to the community when there are options for them. Language options and academic options, they put roots, and therefore student achievement as well goes up. Now, the French immersion program is modeled after the other two, so it will start from kindergarten, and they will receive instruction in all the subjects. So it's literacy, language, and all the content areas. The Mary Baker School has been identified as the whole school, and it is an additive model, which means the students are getting all their content and language in both languages every single day, and they have to also satisfy all the curriculum standards, both the Common Core, the WIDA English language standards, and the foreign language standards under the ACTFL organization. There will be 2 classrooms and 2 teachers using resources and materials in both languages, and as part of all dual language programs, We look forward to partnerships and forging stronger ties to the community because of that, and as well as the institutions that support us. And speaking of support, you all know that last month, the Look Bill was passed at the state level, which allows a lot more flexibility in programming in districts. So this helps dual language programming quite a bit, because the state now can also encourage those in every district. Part of that Look Bill also included the Seal of Biliteracy, which is an award given to students who achieve high levels of proficiency in academics and language in all 4 domains: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And I had come before this board and this committee a couple of years ago to announce that Brockton was also a pilot program of the Seal of Biliteracy, that time before the state even made it official. So we have been working diligently all these years and giving pathway awards towards the Seal of Biliteracy. And that has been at the elementary level. Two-way Spanish kids, those that meet the criteria, have been given those pathway awards. This year we will give, for the first time, pathway awards to grade 8 students at the Pluff Academy. And this is also the first year that high school students have met all their criteria that they've been working on since sophomore year to get the Seal of Biliteracy. And at the high school level, it is an actual seal on their certificate or their diploma. They will walk on stage at graduation wearing a special cord to show that honor and that achievement that they've made. And of course, it's a big honor for employers, college admissions office, and also for job prospects as a whole everywhere that these students will go. I spoke a little while ago about the partnerships that are an important aspect of dual language programming. These are the partners that we are working very closely with currently. And I want to also emphasize that I've been working with the World Language Department here at the high school as the coordinator, and I connect all these students from kindergarten to 12th grade. As the kids grow in grade, they also grow in their language development so that they eventually get the seal and become very strong language and bilingual students as well. The other partnership that I'm very happy to announce is we're working closely with Bridgewater and Bridgewater State and UMass Dartmouth to connect the schools of education with their foreign language department so that we coordinate college candidates to go into the teaching fields with strong foreign language themselves, so that we have a pool of teachers in the future as we need them. As people retire in Brockton, we can work with these 2 universities. So we've been very lucky with these partnerships. It wouldn't be a dual language program if we didn't have international partners as well. These are some of the people that we've worked with recently, and they have shown support for our dual language programs. As a matter of fact, the Brazilian consul sent 2 representatives from their Culture and Education office yesterday to the Raymond School to participate or to be in the audience for the kindergarten holiday concert. So there were about 12 carols sung, a couple of them in Portuguese, and the Brazilian consul representatives were just delighted that they got to come, and they're looking forward to coming in the spring for the celebration of Portuguese Language Day as well. And as we launched now the French immersion program, I have to say that it was recently named Amitié, which means friendship in French, and actually it was part of a community-wide, in Brockton Public Schools, we sent out survey, and we got responses, and this was the name that was most favored. It coordinates very well with what we wanted to do with the program as well. So moving forward, we're working now on all the planning for the program, including getting ready the lottery, kindergarten registration, all the showcases, and all the connections that we have to make in order to launch and start in September, and working very closely with our partners at the Baker School to prepare them to become a dual language school as well. Thank you very much, and...
Yes, I'd just like to reiterate that this has been a long time planning process to reach to this goal of fruition. We've spent many years working with focus teams on working to designing the models that we're moving forward, especially with regard to the long-term goal of Seal of Biliteracy. We're really looking forward to ensuring that as we're starting in the earlier grades with the immersion languages, that it travels on up to the end of high school, so that as they graduate from high school, they have the biliteracy, the certificate of biliteracy, which is so critically important as they move forward into, their college sector years. So it's been a wonderful process for us. It's been very strategic. Our long-term goal is to look to have an international school of languages, which we're keeping that in mind. That's something that we're really looking forward to seeing as we're moving forward with all the efforts that we're dealing with regards to all of the immersion programs that we're designing and dealing with.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
School did have a Polar Express event a couple of Saturdays ago with Santa, and they read the Polar Express in English and then to the French Creole children.
That's wonderful.
One of their teachers was there to read it to that small group of children that wanted to hear it that
It's
way.
really critical for the entire school to adapt and to adopt the dual immersion, so that's great.
Hence, that is one of the reasons in looking at our school sites, the Baker was chosen. We already have language support there for our SEI classes. We have school adjustment counselors there that speak Haitian French Creole.
Yes.
So it made sense for having the UNIDOS program on one side of the city and looking at the Baker School for our Amite. Is that it? That was my favorite. That's great. So we are in the planning process, and again, this was a plan that started back in 2012, and as Laurie has just shared, our vision is an international school at some point in time. So while we might have programs at the Raymond and programs at the Baker and programs at the George, our Spanish program, at some point they might all be brought together and we would have an international dual language immersion programs offering many opportunities. And it's probably the first of its kind, I would think, in the state.
Yes.
And possibly brought down to the pre level.
Well, I'm going to talk about that next.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
How do you say Merry Christmas?
Joyeux Noël.
That's very good. I'm really impressed.
I know a very little bit about a lot of things. Yeah.
That's very good. Actually, before I talk about the preschool and some information for our retreat in January, some focus points that you have asked me to bring forward, I do want to invite Deputy Superintendent Mike Thomas, Chief Academic Officer, for Student Support Services Sharon Wolder, to also talk about our new district capacity project and some things that are happening as we move forward. So our district capacity project is all about code of conduct. So we've been meeting for a good year now, coming up with some special events happening in January.
Yes, so we gave you an update, I think a couple of meetings ago with Ray Shirtliff and Kim Gibson. So we, at our last meeting, we decided to, we're going to send out the parent survey, which is, it's going to be all online. It's 6 questions. Again, we're focusing on bullying, social media and cell phone use in schools, dress code, and those are the 3 main things we're going to be focusing on, and I'll go over the parent forum we're going to have. But first, we're going to send out the online survey. The superintendent will do Connect Ed calls near the end of the winter vacation. The survey will be open for parents from Tuesday, January 2nd, and will close on Wednesday, the 19th. If parents do not have internet access, then they can go to their child's school, and there'll be a computer at the front desk that they also can do the survey on. So we'll be able to get the results back immediately as parents take the survey, and that will lead us to the World Cafe that we'll be having with parents, which is on Wednesday, January 24th in the Red Cafeteria from 6 to 8 p.m. We are reaching out to principals to have PTA members. They're going to be running the World Cafe, so they'll lead the discussion. Again, we're going to focus on bullying, social media, and cell phone use, the dress code, and we also added, late, we wanted to also put in a question about the start time for high schools to see what parents think about that, and just to get people's, idea. As you know, it's being done in Boston, so it would be, interesting to start the discussion. Again, it's not something that's, so it's just to start a discussion, and obviously there's nothing that, I don't think we've talked about that in my 7 years in this position. It hasn't been discussed at all, but it's been something that's been going on around the country, so I think it's worth it for parents to discuss it. So those PTA members that will be running the World Cafe, Sharon Wolder is going to be doing a training for them. Sharon is very well versed in running World Cafes. She did it at the high school for years. So she'll be training them on how to go through the World Cafe model. So I'll have Sharon jump in and explain what that is.
So the World Cafe is set up so that there's a host at the table, and that's what the members from the schools that are coming in will be doing. They'll host the conversations. The conversations will be around the questions from the survey. There are 6 questions that are translated, so people will take the survey. If they don't take the survey and come in and want to be part of the discussion, that's fine as well. But ultimately, it is to get the families of our students talking about some of the things that are critical to us. And as we talk about what we want, we have to make expectations around what schools are wanting from students very clear, and it requires that parents also have some input into that. And so this is their opportunity to come and be part of a discussion. We were debated whether or not we should have principals and other school leaders lead the discussions, but we thought that parents will feel comfortable talking to one another, and so that's why we will have parents hosting the conversations. They'll come in on the 11th and do a training so that they know what the questions are. They'll know how to host the conversation. They'll be prepared to continue conversation, because part of the cafe is that people come in and everyone at the table has an opportunity to speak. There are 4 or 5 people at each table, and the host will then lead them through questions, get people involved in the conversation. We want to make sure that we have people who can translate and communicate with parents who are not English speakers, so that they're part of the process. They'll answer about 3 or 4 questions with one group, and then they'll rotate to another table with a different set of people to have a conversation answering a different set of questions, so that by the end of the night we will be able to ask 5 or 6 questions that we can then get feedback from the community about what we would like to see happen in terms of our code of conduct in the areas that Mike mentioned. So we will collect the information. We'll have someone recording the information as they go, writing it down. We'll have placemats on the table so people can jot their ideas down. That information will go back to the task force, where we will then put it together and feed back to the community. Here's what you've told us, and here are our next steps.
So again, this has been a long time coming. We've had certainly a lot of discussions. We're excited to not only invite parents, but community organizations. We will get word out to community organizations to send people, and hopefully we will have a good representation of our community to begin and capture some of these thoughts. I think one thing I'd like you to do, we wanted to get the dates out there, which is January 24th will be the forum itself. We have a date, I believe, of the 25th of January. We're going to be training the parents. Another date is that January 11th, and we will be sharing this with Connect Ed calls. Those of you that attend your PAC meetings We're happy to provide, make sure that Michelle provides for you all of these dates to be able to share, because we would like to see representation for schools around the district. Not just our elementary schools, our middle schools we'll do outreach to, and obviously, Brockton High School. So again, we're looking for the public to get involved and to come out and share your thoughts and be part of the forum.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I also want to bring to the committee's attention that last year we actually implemented a new schedule at the high school. It involved some common planning time for teachers to get together, and we found that sometimes it was difficult to get teachers of like departments having discussions at the same time. Our staffing had been reduced, and we made a decision through a scheduling task force to add 4 in-service days to our Brockton High School schedule. Unfortunately, they did not make it on the calendar. I believe we had 4 originally there, and we needed to add, I think, an additional 4 that didn't make it on the calendar. It had been negotiated. We signed a memorandum of understanding. It was actually brought to our attention by a couple of the high school teachers that had served on the task force. So we will meet the time and learning that was discussed last spring when we added the dates. So it was in your packet, but we do have 4 additional dates starting as soon as Wednesday, January 10th, 2018, Thursday, March 8th, 2018, Thursday, March 22nd, 2018, and Friday, June 15th, 2018. It becomes very difficult in trying to schedule some of these in-service days due to the MCAT testing, the WIDA access testing. It seems like from January on, we're doing quite a bit of testing of different groups of students. So the student day will end at 11 o'clock. The teachers will remain, and they will have opportunities for planning time for professional development with their other staff members, very similar to what we have with our elementary and our middle schools. And again, I know there's often talk about that, but these are well-used times for our staff members, for an opportunity to be able to have that professional dialogue with their colleagues. And I just mention a couple of things because we've had so many things going on, and I want to finish up by thanking our music department. I know many of you, get to attend certainly of your own schools, the chorus, the concerts, the little kindergarten youngsters. You heard Vula mention people coming from the consulates to hear our students performing. Parents come. It's just, I want to thank everybody for all of the efforts, for always supporting our students at such a wonderful time of year. And I wanted to highlight just a couple of things. I know the mayor and I have been involved in watching donations and people reaching out. And it makes you actually feel good about so many things going on. One was we actually had a group of students from Bridgewater State University at the Davis School get together during the month of November, and as part of their management class, they asked for donations of school supplies for students and teachers. I guess the response was incredible. This is from Principal Darlene Campbell. The team delivered boxes and boxes of items to the Davis for much needed supplies for those classrooms, and I want to thank those students at the college level for thinking of our students and for being great partners with the Davis School. We also had a church in West Bridgewater, St. Anne's Church. And this is because of a former, one of our teacher, school administrator, Linda Santry, who is a member of St. Anne's. And they provided 22 gift bags for all of our parenting and pregnant teens in our Project Red program for this holiday season. So each gift contained toys, play clothes, pajamas for the children, a hat and scarf set for the teens, along with some gift certificates for local stores. So again, I want to thank people for being so generous and so supportive of all of our programs. And Mayor, I know today we had another great...
I also want to mention that this morning I had the pleasure of joining the superintendent, some of the school leadership at the Parent Information Center. Ocean State Job Lot made a donation of 8,000 books, which was really cool. And these are going to be used for bingo for books at all the various schools. So it was David Salito, is that how I pronounce his last name? From Ocean State Job Lot, and Karen McCarthy, she was very instrumental in getting the donation for us, and it was a very generous donation, and it's going to put a lot of books in the hands of a lot of school children between now and the end of the school year. And the superintendent and I both had a chance to be there this morning and enjoyed talking a little bit about how important it is that even in this age of 21st century technology, that we still put real books in the hands of kids and encourage them to read, and how important literacy is for kids in a city like Brockton, growing up in Brockton, and particularly if they're growing up still becoming proficient in English. So it was a really neat donation, and we very much appreciate it. And so when you're out doing your Christmas shopping, remember Ocean State Job Lot was very good to us.
Excellent. And to finish up on what's happening tomorrow night, we do have the holiday party. John Snellgrove, our guidance department, and so many others. And these are, again, donations throughout the district of toys, stocking stuffers we've got going on at central administration. We'll have over 400 people at the Shaw's Center tomorrow evening.
Many of them, 500.
Many of the families, children. They'll have a wonderful holiday dinner, just great holiday events. There's face painting and fun activities, and they all leave with a couple of gifts. And I think, again, for every one of us, I want to thank our guidance department for the work that they do every single year to make sure that every child knows the joy of the Christmas or the holiday season.
And also, Superintendent, this event is one of the two main recipients of the toys we collect for the Mayor's Community Toy Drive also. So we have my Chief of Staff's office. Barely get into it right now because it's toys, but most of those will be going over to the Shaw Center as part of this event, and any of the toys that are not distributed at the Shaw Center will be distributed by Project Guardian Angel over the weekend. But it's a really nice partnership of a lot of folks led by the school department. And I've been going to it for years and partnering in it the last few years since I've been the mayor, and it's really a good event. It's just really what Christmas is all about, and you see these two rooms all set up with toys. It's like something in a movie, and the kids get to walk through and choose out something that they get to choose. So it's really nice.
If you have a chance to get over to the Shaw's,
yeah, please come by Thursday night, 5:30 or so.
Very good. And I want to finish by just mentioning we've got the retreat date of January 22nd. At that retreat, we are going to be talking and focusing on curriculum. We're going to be looking at our action plan as we, again, have taken the time to look at our new state test. I also will be presenting to you, along with Dr. Cancel, our accountability, which under ESSA is being approved by our state as we speak. There are things that are positives for an urban district like Brockton. There are other things that we have a little bit of concern about, but we want to make sure that we discuss the changes taking place. We're also going to be discussing, looking at our preschool students for next year and talking about locations for the classrooms, talking a little bit about what the curriculum looks like, and preparing to welcome our first group of preschool students next year. So that will be a busy day. More information will be to follow. And that is my report for the evening. I just want to take an opportunity to wish all of you a wonderful holiday season with your family and friends. We've had a very, very busy year. I tell people wherever I go, I've never seen such hard-working people. I know you're out in the community. I know you're supporting the schools, and I know the time and the effort that you give to make sure that we are able to every day open the doors for almost 18,000 youngsters in the district. So I want to thank you and wish you all a wonderful holiday season. To our families out there, I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, a time for reflection, a time to enjoy those wonderful students that you send to us each and every day. So happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you. Do you have any items you'd like to refer to subcommittee? Any items to refer to subcommittee? Okay. Before we go to new business, I'll remind everyone it's 6 days before Christmas. Some of us may have just started our shopping tonight.
Oh, boy.
So, hearing that, anyone have any really important new business? Naturally, Mr. Minicello has something.
Mr. Sullivan wanted me to just say to everyone that he had a previously scheduled trip. Otherwise, he regrets not being here. He wanted me to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and he's in a place a little, well, today's not bad, but he's in a place a little warmer than we are, so.
Very good.
And I'd like to wish everyone naturally a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, healthy and happy one.
Okay. I was only kidding. If anyone has new business, we have time for new business. Oh, well, if you can join us Thursday night over at the Shaw Center, please do. And I'll join the superintendent in wishing everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and do we have another meeting before New Year?
We don't, we just get together on January 1st for our inauguration.
Oh, that's right, inauguration, January 1st. 10 a.m. January 1st is the inauguration at the War Memorial Building, at the War Memorial. Unfortunately, the elevator at this...
Really have started your shopping.